Today we will show the famous Lupercalia Route around the Palatine hill. Let's go! This is history in 3D, and the goal of our project is to create the most detailed, accurate and extensive reconstruction of ancient Rome. The Lupercalia was one of the most ancient and mysterious festivals in ancient Rome, celebrated on February 15, from the earliest times until the end of the ancient era. Ancient authors have left us accounts of the ritual. According to Plutarch, it would seem to be a feast of purification, for it is observed on the inauspicious days of the month of February. The festival was associated with legends about the founding of Rome. The priests slaughter gods, and then, after 2 youths of noble birth have been brought to them, some of them touch their foreheads with a bloody knife, and others wipe the stain off at once with wool dipped in milk. The youths must laugh after their foreheads are wiped. After this, they cut the goats' skins into strips and run about, with nothing on but a girdle, striking all who meet them with the thorns. And young married women do not try to avoid their blows, fancying that they promote conception and easy childbirth. A peculiarity of the festival is that the Luperci sacrifice a dog also. Luperci begin their course around the city at that point where Romulus is said to have been exposed, the Lupercal cave. Lupercal was the cave at the foot of the Palatine, in front of which Faustus discovered the she-wolf, nursing the twins Romulus and Remus, and in which she took refuge when driven off by him or his comrades. It contained a spring, was believed originally to have been preceded by a grove, which had disappeared except for the Vicus ruminalis. This is my reconstruction of the Lupercal relief from the era Pacis. This relief depicts the myth at its main attributes, which we have just discussed. The Lupercal was located on the southwestern slope of the Palatine, near the stairs of the Circus. However, its exact location remains unknown. Only in the early 21st century were the remains of a rotunda discovered, which some researchers identify as the Lupercal. The appearance of the grotto generally corresponds to descriptions of this place, as it was in the Augustan era, when it underwent restoration. In time, it was given monumentality. It contained a bronze group of the she-wolf suckling the twins. Also, it was evidently considered a suitable place for the erection of an equestrian statue in honor of Drusus. It is assumed that the Lupercal was preserved beneath the complex of the Temple of Apollo Palatinus, built during the reign of Augustus. In this 3D reconstruction of mine, which depicts the Palatine in the 4th century Common Era, the stairs of Circus and the possible location of the Lupercal are marked. It may have been preserved within the substructures beneath the Temple of Apollo. Access to it could have been maintained through a system of galleries. Now we will demonstrate the route of the Lupercis run around the Palatine hill. It is believed that the priests completed a full circuit, starting and ending at the Lupercal. Alternatively, the ceremony may have concluded at the Forum Romanum. The route is shown using my 3D reconstruction, which represents the Rome as it was in 4th century Common Era. We begin at the southwestern slope of the Palatine. We see the impressive retaining walls of the western part of the hill. They supported several temples and the palace of Tiberius. We start moving towards the Circus. The Palatine hill will remain on our left throughout the road. We see the substructures of the Temple of Apollo. As I have mentioned, the Lupercal cave may have been located beneath them. We step onto the arena of the Circus Maximus. This grand structure could hold, according to recent estimates, about 150,000 spectators. The figure of 250,000 spectators is now often considered an overestimation. The Circus Maximus was not only used for chariot races. Games and festivals were held here, and triumphal processions passed through it. On the eastern side of the circus stood the Arch of Titus. Unlike the more famous Arch of Titus, only fragments of this one have survived. Exiting the circus, we see a round temple on the left. It is presumed that this was the temple of Mercury. We turn north. We see the imposing and monumental nymphaeum, the Septizodium. It was built here in the early 3rd century under Emperor Septimius Severus. Its remains stood until the 15th century. This is one of my recent updates, which I added to the project just a few days ago. We continue our run along the Vicus Fabricii. This street leads us to the Colosseum and the Colossus Solis. The massive statue of the Colossus is visible in the distance. We pass under the arcades of the Aqua Claudia aqueduct, which brought water to the Palatine hill. We see the Arch of Constantine, built here in the early 4th century. However, there are now alternative theories suggesting that the arch may have been constructed earlier, for example under Maxentius. We turn west, passing by the Sudans fountain. We ascend along the Vicus Curiarum. This is the Arch of Titus, preserved to this day. We continue past the Arch of Titus. To the right is the Temple of Venus and Roma. We reach the Via Sacra. To the right is the Basilica of Maxentius. We arrive at the Forum Romanum. It was here, according to Suetonius and other authors, that during the Lupercalia, Mark Antony offered Caesar the royal diadem 3 times, and Caesar rejected it 3 times. This happened a month before his assassination. We pass between the Temple of Castor and the Basilica Julia and head south along the Vicus Tuscus. The festival of the Lupercalia lasted until the late 5th century and was banned as a pagan cult. Interestingly, this prohibition was opposed even by some Christians, who saw the Lupercalia as an ancient Roman tradition. Thus, we have completed our run around the Palatine and returned to the place where we have started.